Welcome back to Disneyland. I'm Professor Toybox. I've got Princess Jasmine with me, and today I'm going to implement the Storybook Land Canal Boats ride. I already built the scenery for this ride back in episode number 18, but I didn't hook up the logic for it. So that's my goal for today. And to save a little bit of time, I've already put down the creativitoys that I'm going to need. And so I have a button over here. And there's not many toys that you need for this. We have a button. In a moment, we're going to use the path creator to put down our path. But then over here, I've already placed 2 buttons and a level starter. So the level starter is going to be used to kick things off. And this button, we're going to go ahead and hook up to the level starter. So we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. And we'll hook this up to start that. And that way we don't have to exit the toy box and come back in. And then this button we're going to be using to stop the toy box. And you'll see why we need this in some of the future rides. It's going to be a really good idea to have that, to be able to come in here and do some editing and stop all of the rides and everything that's moving, because that's going to add a lot of lag and cause some problems later on when we're editing. So that's why we have that. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is put down the path through the canal for the boat to follow. And so we're going to start right here, about on this seam in the middle of the canal, and I'll place that down. And fortunately, that put me into path point creation mode here. So we're just going to go ahead and follow the path of the boat around, and I'm going to put down points in shorter increments than that, so that the path works a little bit nicer. And we can go back and adjust these a little bit later here. Add some additional path points if we need to. But I basically just want to put down a path that will cause the boat to follow the canal. Right now we'll just, again, place the points. We'll do some adjusting here after I close the loop. And we got a long way to go to get to the other end there. So we're going to put quite a few points along here. Like that. And that should be enough to start. So I'll go ahead and exit. And then we'll come over to the path creator, go into the properties, and I'm going to leave active on, and the speed is fine. We're going to set the looped flag on, and we'll go ahead and turn auto start objects when connected off. And the rest of the properties are fine. And so now that we've closed the loop, let's just kind of see what we have here and decide if we want to make any adjustments. Let's go ahead and delete that point. I think that's probably okay. That path looks pretty good. Kind of takes that turn a little sharply there, but that's not too bad. It's still in the water. And the same for this one. What happens if we delete that point? Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's staying in the middle of the channel, so that's pretty good. And that's not too bad. It's not straight, but I think it's better than the alternative, because if I take those points out, this thing is going to be way out here on the edge of the canal, and that's not going to look right. So I think we'll just go ahead and leave it at that. All right, so there is our path. And now we need a vehicle or a object of some kind to put on it. And if you're on a system that has more memory than my Wii U, you might consider putting down under the ground vehicles drawer the Splash Mountain log. That would be a nice choice. But since I don't have the memory for that with everything else that I want to do, instead I'm going to use the Pirate Docks rowboat. This takes up a lot less memory. We're going to go ahead and just drop this here for right now. And we'll go ahead and open the logic menu for that and do a new path connection. Connect that to our path. And then on the properties for this, under Toy Box Path, we'll leave the speed set at 100. We want to orient along the path. Now, right now, it looks like it's pointing the right way, but as soon as we go around that corner, it's going to be going sideways. So we have to turn this flag on, but when we do, you'll notice that goes to a weird angle. So we have to come back down here to the rotation and set this to 90 to get it to point the way we want to get it to point. So that's a little odd. Another thing we need to do is it's sitting up above the water right now, so I'm going to change the vertical offset to -1. Excuse me, to -1, and that puts it down in the water, which I think looks a lot better. And the last thing I want to do is I don't really want to start here. I want to give the player a chance to get a running start on this. And so we'll go ahead and take the reset point to 89. That'll put it 89% of the way around the track, which will put it coming just about out of the tunnel off to the left there. And all the rest of those are fine. Okay. Now, for our reset button, we'll go ahead and hook this up. And this will allow us to put the boat in its initial position. So when that button is pressed, come over to the Path Creator, and we'll do a reset and stop. And this is going to be my little command center over here to kind of run the show. And again, we'll need this while we're editing. Okay, so that should put the boat at its initial starting position. So this is where the boat will start when the toy box is entered. And that's back here. And that's enough time to go ahead and hop on the boat when we come through here. Now the next thing we'll do is we'll hook up the level starter to this. So that boat will start moving immediately when we enter the level and everything is done loading. So on the level starter, a new logic connection on Catalyze. Again, we'll come over to the path and we'll do a reset and play. And just to go ahead and test that out, let's come back over here to our command center and start it up. So we'll enter the level over here at the castle. And by the time we wander on down here, you'll notice the boat's already moving. And what's interesting is, it's kind of a long path, and at the way it's going, it's going to take a minute for it to traverse that path. And so if you come over here, and you're standing here and you're just kind of waiting for the boat to come, that's kind of boring. And so that's why we have this button here, so that the player doesn't have to wait for the boat. We could just add more boats, but that takes up more memory. So one boat's sufficient. So on this button, we'll do a new logic connection. When pressed, we'll come over here and do the same thing the level starter does. We'll do a reset and play. And so if the player comes over here and they don't want to wait for the boat, they can come push the button. That puts the boat right back here at the start. Then we can hop on the boat and go for a ride. And I think this is a pretty good speed. You don't really want it to go too much slower. You don't really want it to go too fast either. The kind of cut the corner there on that tunnel, I noticed. But that's not too bad. But you don't want it to go too fast because you don't want the ride to go too quickly. You don't want it to go too slow either. So the default speed seems to be pretty good. And yeah, this is traversing the canal pretty good. It's not right down the middle, but that's all right. Doesn't really need to be. And this is where we would, whoa, get off. Not sure what happened there. But anyway, that's the Storybook Land Canal Boats ride. It's a very simple ride to build, and because it's so simple, I'm not going to post a logic diagram on my blog for this one. You don't really need it. Next time, I'll hook up the logic over here for the Mad Tea Party. That'll be the next complicated one. We're going to go in order of easiest rides to hardest, and so this will be the next one that we do over here. But until then, I want to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed my video today, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know. Also, click my photo in the lower right corner to subscribe to my channel if you'd like to do that, and then you'll never miss one of my videos. That's all for me today. Take care.